The Olympics is considered by many the pinnacle of modern-day sports. It represents over 20 different sports, with nations from around the world competing every 4 years to claim dominance in various events. Amongst them is badminton, a sport very popular and usually dominated by Asian countries, namely China, with an immense margin ahead of any other trailing countries such as Indonesia and South Korea. Despite the US being one of the countries that dominate the Olympics in general, we do not see nearly the same competitiveness in the sports at the games, nor do we see the same popularity of the sport in domestic grounds. While there are many Asian Americans that not only dominated the national competitive scene, but have also represented the country in international competition, the game still does not seem to be popular. We decided to investigate this further to understand why such a globally appreciated sport such as badminton would be underappreciated in the US, where we have the potential to go up against the world's best countries in the global stage.
The US Olympic badminton team was composed of all Asian Americans in the 2016 Rio Games. So what if we said badminton is not a popular sport in the US due to the team being completely Asian American? That's a pretty racial statement, but it could be true. I mean, all the other US sports do not represent Asian Americans well, and on a side note, neither does Hollywood. Maybe this country doesn't like watching Asian Americans in general. We could debate on this idea for some time, but what if we also said badminton, which is overall an Asian-dominated sport around the world, is not popular in the United States because the sport lacks the support from the general public that other sports in the US already have? In 1934, the International Badminton Federation was formed from the countries of England, Wales, Holland, Canada, Ireland, Scotland, New Zealand, and France. The US didn't start supporting badminton until 1936, when the American Badminton Association was created. After that though, badminton did not see as much hype as other sports did. The amount of US badminton playing declined from 1970 on, until 1992 when badminton was introduced into the Olympics. Ever since its introduction into the Olympics though, only China, Indonesia, Korea, England, and Denmark have received gold medals in this sport.
From the information we found, we could say that badminton is just a new sport, especially compared to other American sports, such as baseball or American football. Badminton doesn't have a long history in the US compared to these other popular sports. Another prime example for the lack of public support for badminton can be seen from the professional players. Datuk Lee Chong-wei was ranked as the top badminton player for 199 consecutive weeks at one point. But when he won the Super Series title back in 2010, which is the biggest badminton tournament, and achieved first place, he won a $15,000 check. That's it, $15,000. On average, NBA players make about $5.15 million, MLB players make $3.2 million, and NHL players make $2.4 million, and NFL players make about $1.9 million per year. Maybe there isn't as many professional players compared to other sports due to the lack of money for players. You can't really live off $15,000.
Hello, my name is Vance, and I'm going to be interviewing Brandon Sacco for our SASPA video. My first question for him is going to be, what is your opinion on badminton?
I feel that it's a sport which sometimes does not get the recognition it deserves around the globe, and it is dominated and played mostly by Asian people.
Okay, do you have any reasons why it's played by many Asian people?
I feel that it's not as physically strenuous as other activities. It doesn't take as much space to play, and it only requires 2 or 4 people to play the game.
Okay, that's fair. Do you think badminton is a possible career path?
As living in America, no, just because there's not much publicity. There's no media spotlight on the sport, but I don't know what the badminton professional game is like in other countries.
Okay, why isn't there as much support for the sport?
Probably because there are more, 1, physically strenuous activities that are more exciting to watch, and 2, there's tennis, which is exponentially more exciting than badminton.
Okay, my final question for you is, how skillful do you think badminton is?
I think it's a sport which it's easy to play amongst friends, but to be really good at it, it's quite difficult.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Thanks.
The high racial tension in American society leads us to think many issues are based on race, especially in today's society where a lot of political issues are extremely polarized. From our research, we conclude that badminton is not a part of the racial stigma. Just because many Asian Americans are drawn to a specific sport does not make badminton a racial issue. Overall, we have learned that badminton lacks the support and popularity from the general public.